Good evening, Facebook friends and YouTube subscribers, my Facebook friends and family. I have a lot of family members on my Facebook account, cousins, uncles, aunts, a whole lot of folks. My Darlene in Michigan. Hello, Darlene. I wanted to talk about Sandra Bland. Sandra Bland was arrested on July 10th in Waller County, Texas by an officer with the Department of Public Safety on a charge of assaulting a public servant. She had been pulled over for failing to signal a lane change. All right, so Ms. Bland was arrested on July 10th, and she ended up a few days later being found dead in her jail cell. They believe she committed suicide. She possibly hung herself in that cell around sometime between 6:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. On July the 13th. Now, she was arrested on the 10th. She was still in jail on July 13th, waiting to get out on bond. I have been waiting several days to see this video of what took place with Sandra and that police officer, because I really wanted to know this is a very serious matter here. How did this woman, who was being pulled over for a very, very, very minor traffic violation, not using her blinker to signal a lane change, how did this end up with her being arrested and held in jail for 3 days charged with assaulting a police officer? So I was very curious to see this video, and I did see it. Sandra Bland created a problem with that police officer. She was angry because he had pulled her over and he was about to give her a warning. He wasn't even going to give her a ticket. He was going to give her a warning. I was caught speeding going about 80, 90 miles per hour, and they gave me a warning because I was polite to that police officer and I was respectful to him. Sandra made a fatal decision that day to be disrespectful to that police officer. And she created a problem with that officer who was just going to give her a warning, the same thing he had just done to he just given somebody else a warning. He's out doing his job. The police jobs are to write tickets and arrest people. So if the police pull you over, they're either going to give you a ticket or they're going to take you to jail. One of the two is going to happen, or both. In this case, Sandra made a decision that she didn't want to take the warning. She wanted to be disrespectful to this police officer. All she had to do was be respectful to that police officer, took her little warning ticket, and she wouldn't have been in jail. So I watched that video because I really wanted to see what happened. And I saw something in that video. Sandra was having some very serious mental issues in that video. And if you watch that video very carefully, you will see something is wrong with that young lady. And see, this is where I have a lot of problems with. I am African American, I'm Black American. I love black folks. But we don't accept the fact. We do not want to accept the fact that a lot of black folks running around our communities with mental problems. Now, they say that she's possibly bipolar. Possibly. I believe she possibly was. They say that she was having some problems. Possibly with depression. She possibly was. But if you watch that video very carefully from beginning to end, you will realize this woman was suffering from some very serious mental issues. Because people get pulled over for tickets every day. Trust me, I've been pulled over so many times I have lost count. But I've never gotten mad at a police officer. You might be a little disappointed because you're rushing to get someplace and all of a sudden you got pulled. The last ticket I got, I made a right-hand turn on here in Atlanta. They had a sign up there saying, "No, turn on red." And I made a right-hand turn on red. I missed the sign. They just put that sign up there just a few weeks ago. And I rarely go through that downtown intersection. They changed everything around because they put this new trolley running through town. So I blew through the intersection and got pulled over, and I was a little disappointed because I was rushing to get to my doctor's office to get some medicine before she closed office. I did make it to my doctor's office. But I wasn't mad at the officer because the officer was doing her job. I was a little mad when I had to pay that $200 ticket a few weeks later. I don't get mad with the police. There is no reason for me to get angry with any police officer because they're doing a job. They're doing their job. A job that they love to do. I mean, there are many police officers want to do. So I don't get angry with them. Especially when I know I was in the wrong. I blew through that intersection. I didn't even pay no attention. I just didn't even stop. Had I stopped and looked around, I would have saw those big signs placed there saying, no turn on red. And I wouldn't have gotten that ticket that day. But Sandra got upset because this officer pulled her over and was giving her a warning ticket. He wasn't going to give her a ticket. He was going to give her a warning ticket. She was upset about this and angry. That goes back to my question about mental illness with Sandra. Something was going on in this young woman's mind that wasn't right. There's another video of her that she posted on her Facebook page or YouTube account where she's discussing that she's suffering from depression and something else. Some other issues. I haven't really watched the entire video. I just sat through the arrest video was almost an hour long. I watched it from beginning to end because I really wanted to see what took place so I can get a better understanding because everybody's upset. And they think that this police department has murdered this woman because she committed suicide in that jail cell. She killed herself. And if you watch that video and you watch the video of the police department, those police, why would they harm this woman over a little traffic violation or let's say this is the assault charge on the police officer? She didn't really hurt this police officer. She might have, they wrestled a little bit, but he was fine and she was fine. He slammed her on the ground because she was just not in agreement with what was going on. She was not willing to comply. That goes back to what I said about this woman suffering from some sort of mental illness. And I'll bet you all $1 million as this case proceeds forward because they're investigating it as a murder. We're going to find out more details about Sandra's background and mental health issues she may have struggled with. This is what angers me about our community. I remember going to a church here in Atlanta a few years ago, and the pastor stood in that damn pulpit and said, you don't need to see a doctor. Jesus will fix your mental health issues. If you're suffering from mental problems, Jesus will take you. Jesus ain't fixing a goddamn thing for nobody because the motherfucker don't exist. That's what's wrong with black folks. We so busy believing in some magical human, some person up in the sky, instead of going to get help. This woman should have been on medication. This woman should have been in the care of a psychiatrist or doctor. And so we're going to find all this out over the next few weeks. The problems she has gone through probably all her life. All her life long, she's probably struggled with a lot of issues. All mental health related. That had she been under the care of a doctor and on medication, she would probably be okay. And she could have handled a very small, minor traffic ticket, which would have been a warning. She could have took a little warning if she had been in the proper frame of mind, took her ticket, her warning ticket, which is really nothing, and went on about her business. She'd be alive today. She wouldn't have served 3 days in that jail cell where she ended up committing suicide. Nobody killed Sandra. Sandra was suffering from mental health issues that she's probably battled her entire life. And that cold, dark jail cell by herself, it became too much for her. And she killed herself. She committed suicide. A lot of black folks are going to have a hard time accepting that. Because remember, we think the white folks are our enemy. And as the police are even worse. Some people are going to swear up and down that the police harmed this woman. They didn't. Sandra committed suicide. If you like my videos, please click like, share them with family members and friends. It's extremely late at night, 12:30 at night, but I really felt I needed to talk about the subject. But anyway, I look forward to reading your comments about Sandra Bland and the situation that took place with her. Remember, she was arrested. She was only in jail for a few days. But something was wrong. If you watch that video, I'm very curious to see. I want to know how many of you all watched the entire video and what you thought about her mental health in that video. Anyway, I'm out of here. Look forward to reading you guys' comments. Have a good night.